Hi there, this is Catherine Gilbo from enfoldedheartmusic. I'm making this video as a response to just a few requests to know a little bit more about the strap that I've got on the back of this lyre. So just a few words on this strap, and then just a tiny bit on some helpful tips that I learned as I was learning the lyre. I will put in the description the place where I first learned about this. It's a lovely Greek woman who's a professional lyre player. She certainly knows way more than I do about how to play the lyre, etc. So, and it was a couple of free videos and courses on that. So I'll put that in the description for anyone that may find that helpful. But in regards to the strap, really all that it is, I mean, I personally just used an old t-shirt with a pattern in a color that I thought was nice, and just tied it to either end of the lyre. The only thing in regards to material, obviously make sure it's comfortable. It's not going to, really rub on your skin or be an irritant or something like that. But the other small thing is also, if you got something too thick, it does bunch up a little bit, at least on mine, it bunches up a little bit on this top note, and sometimes that got in the way of this top A, or whatever you have it tuned to, this A string actually vibrating. And so just something to keep an eye on. It's very close on mine, but it doesn't touch. I kind of had to adjust it a little bit, but just a small thing there. In regards to putting it on, once you've got it tied here, all that you do, you take your left hand, you're going to go in from the top, and once you go in, come up, and it will naturally twist around your wrist. It's not real tight, but just a nice little twist. And you can see the distance that I have from the lyre. Now when I play, the bottom of my hand is going to lay still on the lyre, but that's just a comfort thing. I am by no means an expert on the lyre at all, and I'm sure there are many other people who have videos on YouTube or elsewhere that could help you out. But just since I had some people ask, I thought, I'll go ahead and share this. So this is really just something that I found personally helpful. And so this allows my left hand to be able to really have some much more flexibility here. Obviously, instead of holding or trying to hold it with my thumb and play it like this, a lot less strain on it, and give some freedom. My primary instrument is the piano, and so when I got the lyre, it was a strong desire to play with both hands. And I found that when I tried to do that without this strap, it just really jarred all over the place, and I found that frustrating, and I didn't understand, how are you supposed to hold this? How is this supposed to work? So that was something very helpful for me. Of course, it still gets, takes some getting used to, but something that's helpful. One other small thing that I found helpful is the chair that I'm sitting in. Sometimes I'll sit on a stool. This chair I don't typically use. I find it a little bit too high, and that my legs are angled down a little bit more. I prefer something just a tiny bit lower, even just an inch or so that my legs are closer to a 90-degree angle or a little bit above, so that there can be this nice kind of almost L shape that holds the lyre a little bit more steady. I tend to hold it at this angle, lean it back a little bit against that left hand, and play from there. Even just crossing my legs can be really helpful. Sometimes it'll slip off, but just adds a little bit of stability. So that's a small thing that I found really helpful. And then also just knowing, what is this instrument? How am I, how is it structured? And how does that call for me to respond to it, to play it? I've seen and heard, comments about it being like a small harp. I know there are a lot of similarities. It has a similar sound to it. It can play similar types of music. For me, it was important to understand that it's not a harp. It's not structured like a harp. It's structured like a guitar or a violin, because it has this bridge. And so the strings go over the bridge, and it's through the bridge that those vibrations are communicated to the soundboard, rather than the strings going directly into the soundboard like with the harp. And so even just thinking about it differently, I tend to think of it more as a guitar, and I don't try to play it as a harp. I don't position my hands like you would for a harp. I don't pluck them with the same vigor that you do for a harp. I do it much more like you would, or at least I would imagine, a guitar. I don't play guitar, but as I imagine you would. So a very soft touch. It's a very gentle, a very delicate instrument that I think is part of the beauty of it. and so it has a very quiet sound. In my videos, I definitely amp up that volume. So if you're wondering, how's she get it so loud? It's not that loud. In real life, it's just amping me up so that it can be heard a little bit more, be a little bit more clear for those videos. So yeah, again, just knowing what you're working with, and I found that to be very helpful. If you got any questions or anything else that I could help you with, you're welcome to write that in the comments, or send me an email. That would actually be my preference. I can respond with a little bit more depth and maybe a little bit concretely with some things. But you're welcome to, again, there's lots of people who know a lot more about the lyre than me. Lots of people who have channels on YouTube that are more geared towards instructional things. I tend not to do that as much. I don't feel as called to do that, but I'm happy to be of help as is called for. So I hope this is helpful for those of you who asked, and I hope you enjoy the instrument. It's a very, very beautiful instrument. It's very old, has a wonderful history. It was the instrument that King David played when he was a shepherd still and was called by the Lord to follow him, eventually to become king. But even before then, he played it for King Saul when he was having a difficult time, and it was really helpful for him. So the scriptural background to it's very beautiful. I think of that when I'm reading the Psalms and such. Also in the Greek history, I know it's been very prevalent. So it's just a wonderful history of a very beautiful instrument, and the delicacy of it and the simplicity of it, I think, is very touching and very wonderful. So anyways, I hope this helps, and I hope those of you either who are listening to the music or are playing, that it's just really a source of prayer and contemplation for you, a space of encounter with God and His love for you. And I hope this video is helpful. Alrighty. God bless, and may Christ's peace be with you. Thanks.